everybody. Welcome to The Right Conversation with Shari Pheasant, where we talk about the hard stuff. I get into the real good things that you really want to hear when you listen into conversations with people. Look, communication isn't the biggest problem on a team. The biggest problem on a team is not having the right conversation soon enough. And the right conversation is really about 5 factors. Talking to the right person about the right thing at the right time, with the right tone and intonation, and with the right intentions. So join me for the right conversations that I have with my guests, and you get to hear all about the hard stuff. You're going to love this. So let's dig in. Where you're putting them in a home that they may be in for the rest of their life, right? They're an experience, their big moments and their little moments and their tough moments, and watch their kids grow up in their home. Yeah. How long have you been in your home, Tyler?
We have been in our home for a little over 2 years.
Okay. What are your plans? I dig in. I know some real estate agents, and some of them move a lot. They right, because you're upgrading, you're investing, you're doing your thing, and then and I mean, I get it. You're going to find deals before anybody else does. So
yeah. So my husband and I
forever home, or is this a stepping stone for you?
I think that's kind of a toss up. If you ask my husband, he's ready to go on to the next best thing. He's always talking about, like, let's build a home, let's build a custom home. What's funny is we started by building our first home. We had our first home built out in Spanish Springs. We picked everything, like, this is going to be the home that we're going to be in forever. I think we were there for 2 years, and we were like, next, on to the next best thing. We're still out in Spanish Springs, but we're in a much larger home. We have the shop. We're on almost an acre. I believe it has everything that we need for a while. But my husband he's
already looking.
Yes.
Well, and it's funny. I moved around a lot as a kid. I spent some time in Washington, D.C., really a lot of my time both in school on field trips and bringing guests that came right at the Smithsonian. So history is really important to me. But also change. I'm a catalyst of change, and I moved a lot. So I think that resiliency, right, comes from, they always say who you were as a kid really does shape who you are as an adult, right? Those experiences, that 0 to 5, right? Before they can even speak, they're watching you. You might think they don't understand you because they don't speak, but they totally, research has proven that an 18-month-old identifies bad behavior by adults. Yes. Those of you listening, if you didn't know that, your 18-month-old is watching you do that stuff and you think not. Oh, yeah. Right. For sure. So on that, Tyler, when you were a kid, did you move around a lot? What were some things that you believe you carry with you as an adult?
Yeah, I had a great childhood. And
brought up in this area?
Yeah, I was born in Reno. I lived here until I was 8. And then my dad moved us to 𝐂𝐸𝐶. So my dad's actually from small town Fallon, and then lived in Gabbs, which is like a ghost town now. So he wanted to get back to the small town feel, small town roots. He didn't want us to grow up in a city, which looking back now, I appreciate and I understand. But at 8 years old, when he was moving away from all my cousins and everything I knew and moving me to good old Elko, Nevada, I didn't appreciate it at the time. But growing up in Elko was special. I'm glad to not be living there now, but growing up there, it was cool still. It was small. You could ride your bike after dark. Your parents didn't have to ask where you were. Like, it just was safe, right? And growing up, I was a cheerleader in high school. Just having that true small town feeling, I appreciate way more than I ever want to admit to my dad.
Oh, Dad, are you listening? Tyler, you just admitted it. See, the things that happen on The Right Conversation are just awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So what do you carry with you from that? Do you think that, like, your wherewithal, your resiliency, your fortitude, does that come from some of those experiences from being in a small town, right? Because if you don't have to watch your kids, you're out there experiencing life, right? There's no helicopter watching you.
Yeah.
And when you trip, you fall, you got to get up.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that growing up in a small town is especially with the people that I was surrounded by. I was surrounded by coaches that were amazing. My parents were very headstrong. I come from a long line of very headstrong and resilient women that I think just raised me the right way and showed me what strength was. I've also been put through a lot of large trials and tribulations, I would call them, that I didn't have the choice but to keep going. And I think that is where my resilience comes from, and where I will definitely be installing that into my two daughters. Strength is everything to me.
What are your daughters' names?
Harper is 4 and Hallie is 2.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
How fun. Is that a full family for you, or are we maybe having more, Tyler?
Sorry. I don't know. If you would have asked me like 6 months ago, I would have been like, absolutely not. We are done. I want nothing to do with that. It's been really weird in the last couple months. Even my husband, I can tell, is like, what is going on with you? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we're done yet. Yeah.
You know, life is meant to be full of surprises. And so it's okay to have some space for surprises. Now, my kids, I must have said it a lot when they were young. I have a 34 and 36-year-old, and they both have 2 children. And I used to say, oh no, they're like, anymore. No, I have 2 hands. I have 2 kids, 2 hands, 2 kids, 2 hands, 2 kids. And so funny, both of them literally, right. There are no more. And all my grandchildren are boys. So I tell all hey, if you got girls, I got handsome, smart, amazing young grandchildren. You let me know, I'll hook you up.
Perfect.
Right?
Yeah. We have 2 girls, and I know my husband would love a boy, but I just keep reminding him that's his fault. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens. I don't have a definite answer.
And you know what? I think that's wonderful that you get to leave some things undone, because typically CEOs, right? It's all in the plan. And I think it's good to wing it sometimes, which also CEOs are good at doing, right?
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay. So in our community, with your business, with Nevada Kids Foundation, being a female, what advice do you have to women out there that, there's that broken rung? We talked about it before we went live. We've got that big graphic that everybody can see. We'll do it as a downlink because when it comes up, it's that endless window, and we don't want to do that. But it's not the glass ceiling. Women are always saying there's a glass ceiling. And I started saying this 4 years ago when I did my first women's conference, leadership conference. It's not about that. It's about a broken rung, right? We're not getting to management roles. Now, there's been a shift since 2015. In your role, Tyler, we have had a 65% increase of women CEOs. So yay, ladies, right? I love that.
Yeah.
However, right, senior VP and senior manager and director roles are growing at a 13 to 17% rate. And you've only got an 8% rate growth at manager. If you can't get the women to manager, you don't have a pool for anyone else as we move up, unless we just bump you there. So we have a female in place. And I don't know about you, Tyler, but stop putting us there because we're women. Put us there because we can do the job. That's really what it's about. Yes?
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I feel like getting to the position that I'm in, truthfully, was hard work and dedication and showing what I was made of. I think a lot alike with Chris Nevada, our team owner, and that definitely helped me. But I think the resilience and just, I had 2 babies getting into this role. I was actually pregnant with Hallie when he brought the CEO position to me, and I was like, you're crazy. I'm about to have 2. He's like, no, you can do it. Yeah. So I had Hallie right after being promoted to CEO, and all of a sudden I had a newborn and a 2-year-old, and I'm sitting in the CEO position. But I can tell you that it didn't matter. I just knew that these were my goals, and it didn't matter what it was going to take, whether I had a newborn on my strapped to me and a toddler at my feet. Like, it didn't matter. I was going to make it happen. But I think a big part of it for me was I had other people depending on me. It wasn't like make it or break it for me. It was make it or break it for my family. And I had 2 young daughters. I had a very, very professionally strong mother growing up. And I think that that's just the role that I grew up knowing, and the role that I knew I wanted to take on as a mother myself. And I want to raise 2 strong women who are also in CEO positions if they choose. But I just knew I had to make it for them.
Nice. Are they little CEOs of their life right now? I can imagine your girls are just like CEOs.
Yeah. Harper, my 4-year-old, just says, Mommy, I want to be you when I grow up, which I love, but I don't think she clearly doesn't understand it all yet. But she just says, I want to be you. I want to have your office when I grow up. I'm like, okay, baby, you can do that. Hallie is a savage. She is my second child through and through. She's like the exact definition of a Sour Patch Kid. So it'll be interesting to see what she takes on in the world. But whatever she takes on, better watch out because she's going to be a force for sure.
That's wonderful. And your husband has to be one of the most confident, amazing, supportive men, right? Where did you meet him?
We met on Tinder.
Oh, there's been a lot of successful relationships, right? There's none of that bar talk and all that other stuff. I think once we learned how to use the technology, it was really a great way to connect with people that are aligned with us.
Yeah. We met on Tinder, which is funny. We didn't like saying that in the beginning of our relationship. And now I'm like, yeah, we met on Tinder and look at us go. But back to your comment of him being supportive. We have a family motto and it's all gas, no brake. And I don't know where we came up with it, but we did. And it sticks and our kids say it. Just last night, Harper was like, all gas, no brake, Dad. And he was like, what? So we definitely adopted that motto and hold true to that. He is a pusher 100%, but in the best ways. I would have never, I wanted to stay as a realtor or as an admin for a real estate team. That's how I met Chris. I was applying for a salary position. Him and Chris got together without even knowing each other and pushed me to become a real estate agent. And that was the first big leap that I took in our relationship. And since then, he's like, now what? Now what? Okay, now you're CEO, now what? And I love it. Sometimes I'm like, back off and let me enjoy this little phase for like 2 seconds before I jump onto the next thing. But truthfully, he is the biggest supporter, and I definitely wouldn't be here without that.
That is fantastic that you've got a couple men. I mean, I always say that, right? That women supporting women is important. I think that that's great. I think also we need advocates. You know, I'm in a lot of male-dominated industries, the automotive industry, the high finance, real estate as well, right? Because when you get to a certain level, that's where the men are. But I think it's really important that we understand that we need men advocates too. There have to be men that are going to support us and be our advocates in companies.
I think one of my biggest things with my women realtors on my team, one of my first questions is, what's your support like at home? Real estate's hard. And if you want to even think about getting into leadership or getting into anything like that, your support at home has to be top notch. And it's the biggest advice. Chris taught me that day one. One of the first questions Chris ever asked me, didn't know anything about me, but he said, what's your support like at home? And at first I was like, not really your business, but it is. As a leader, it's really important to know like what their support is like at home, because if they don't have that support, you're fighting an uphill battle. And I can tell the ones that have the support at home and whose spouses are pushing them or partners are pushing them, and the ones that are trying to battle no support at home and support themselves. But it's even more important for me as a leader to know who doesn't have that support, because I need to be that support for them.
Oh, I love that. You're talking about the holistic employee, right? It's so important. A new conversation that we're having. It's not leave work at work, leave home at home. You can't. It's the same person. And it has an effect. Burying it just gives you a problem that's hiding versus something that you can actually talk about and deal with. And so I appreciate that, Tyler. It just shows when you see your posts. You know, I deal with companies and businesses and talk about authenticity in your marketing, in your messaging, in your branding and understanding. You've really got that down. You're a great representation, I think, to women about being able to be resilient and go get whatever you want in life, even when you have a couple of kids. So, and a husband and a nonprofit and all of these other things that you have. So I think you are an amazing mentor. Do you mentor other women? Do you do that?
Yeah. So I'm actually another video that will be rolling out soon is what Nevada Real Estate Group and myself have done for the moms on our team and their careers. I'm very, very passionate about moms having careers if they want them, and staying true to themselves and also finding themselves inside motherhood. it's hard. It is so hard. And I know. And so I want my team to know that I'm here for them. We have children in our office like every day, and multiple children. I don't want you to feel like you can't come to work or you can't go to a showing because you have your kids and school's closed or you have a new baby. We have babies here. We're babysitting. People are out at showings and we have kids at the front desk with our amazing office manager. I am open to supporting our moms in any way possible because I know I've been there. It's not easy. And people are like, you make it look so easy. It's not. And I'm in the trenches with them and I want them to know that they're supported in all aspects.
Well, and I think you're confident enough, right, that you have breakdown moments. We even successful people, we have our moments. And nobody may see those, but we're just like everybody else. We just tend to, it's not the problem, it's what you do with the problem. It's how you get up, the resiliency, right? The determination, and just the positivity, making sure that you're solutionizing, not complaining, right? And using workarounds. I think that I find that in you, Tyler, that you're very direct, and you're going to face whatever is real right in front of you.
Yeah, I'm very transparent with my team. I have meltdowns. I have moments of weakness, and my team knows. They know when I'm going through something, because I want them to know that it's not perfect and I'm not doing it perfectly and I'm not some crazy superhero. I'm in the trenches, like I said, with them, and I don't want to ever be an unrealistic mentor for them. I want them to know that this is real life and I'm going through it too, and it's okay when you're going through anything, but to reach out to the people and lean on the people that you have in your life to get through it.
Absolutely. And I think that if you think about superheroes on a whole, they have an inside, right? Clark Kent, even Linda Carter, right? Wonder Woman. She's not always in costume. I have her bracelets, but she is not always in costume, by all means. So I think that's really important. Tyler, you've been really transparent in this interview. You've shared a lot of great talking points and learning points and leadership points and team building points with everybody. So thank you for just sharing your knowledge and sharing your experience so openly. I can see why your team is so successful. And last question, who pours into you? Actually, not the last question, but one of the last questions. I have one other one.
I have aside from my family, I have a really large family. We're very close, as well as my husband. But I have a team of coaches, and my dad jokes with me all the time because I'm like, I need my coach right now. And he's like, better reach out to your coach. I have a team of coaches that not only coach me in life, but in motherhood and keeping my family balanced, and in business and leadership. I truthfully believe that if you only have one coach, you're not doing yourself justice. And I have male coaches, I have female coaches, I have coaches outside of real estate and inside real estate. And I really believe
different things, right? For different things, but they all collaborate. Yes.
Yeah. It takes a village on all aspects, not only with my family, but with my leadership and who I am as a human and as a woman growing in my career. So I definitely lean on my village for sure.
I love that. And you're right. I agree with you. There's tons of coaches, never just get one. There's different things and different times, right? Reasons and seasons. And you can see that in you. And in every podcast, every interview that we do, I ask one question, and normally I will let the guests know. I have not, just let's be transparent, have not let Tyler know this question, but I have a feeling and I have a feeling she's going to nail it anyway. That's just who she is. Just one thing. If there's just one thing you want people to remember from our interview about you, about your theory of how you live, or the things that are going to be helpful to them, just one thing. If I can focus on that, what would be your advice on that just one thing, Tyler?
Oh, man. My just one thing, I guess the legacy, this is kind of like the legacy I want to leave behind. Legacy I want to leave behind, but most importantly, instill into the people's lives that I touch and my children's, is just keep going. I've read a quote that said, like, people always say, fake it till you make it, but don't fake it till you make it. Face it until you make it. I've fallen down and gotten back up so many times, and it's okay. It's okay to fall down and get back up. It's okay to fail, but it's how you weather the storm and come out of it that matters.
I like that. Just keep going, right? Failing forward, that perfect imperfection, right? That we all, and funny coming from the real estate world, right? Imperfection. I think that's why your team is so different, Tyler. I really appreciate the time that you spent with us today and the nuggets that you've given to everybody listening. I know that this will be one of our most popular podcasts, and I love that. And I am going to be watching for you on the top, because that's where you're going to be, Tyler. So thanks for joining us very much.
No, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. And anytime we'll do this again. All right, everybody. This has been Shari Pheasant with Tyler 𝐂𝐨𝐬 on The Right Conversation. Thanks for joining me for that conversation. My goal is to change the world one conversation at a time. I hope you'll join me for other podcast guests while we talk about the hard stuff and really dig in. If you love what you hear, like, share, and repost so we can grow this podcast. I hope to see you on the inside.